In the present, we meet Tauka Scott, an unremarkable farmer but a man of culture. He picks up his vegetables, decides to name them like girls, admires how they look like tights, and puts socks on them with a strange face, something that Yuna, his cute childhood friend, doesn't think to be normal. She thinks he's only lazying around and doesn't even understand why they are friends, and for some reason she decides to compare him with the legendary hero who's the same age as them and already managed to save the world. Tauka cannot stand that thought because people only talk about how great the hero is when the sacred sword could have chosen anyone else. Plus, he did save the world, but nothing changed as demons are still roaming around and destroying everything. Nevertheless, Yuna still defends the useless hero. Yuna scolds him for not being able to protect their village, but Tauka has everything planned. He already dig a hole and place stakes at the bottom, something that will kill any demon that falls into it. She still thinks it's stupid and walks away. Suddenly, Tauka hears her screaming. When he looks back, he sees everyone running away from a demon. Yuna ends up tripping, and the demon approaches her, mentioning she looks tasty. Tauka is watching it behind a tree and thinks about what can he do to save her, because he needs her for his future cultural plans, and so he gets the brilliant idea to grill some meat to attack the demon, but the demon hates that type of meat. Mission failed, and so with Yuna's disgusted look, he gets another idea to fight the demon and save her with his hoe. But suddenly a random guy appears and slices the demon in half. Everyone starts gathering around him. Yuna thanks him, and the guy simply says that he remembers saving her 3 years ago too, and asks how she's doing. Tauka clearly hates this hero guy because he was expecting to wife up his childhood friend, but she's all here happy and smiling at this random guy. He doesn't like the hero who literally flirts with any cute girl and tells Yuna that he loves her smile, and she stupidly believes his words. Tauka decides to also put himself on the radar, mentioning he tried to save her, but she doesn't have salvation anymore. She has fallen for the hero's lies. Tauka starts to get angry. It took him 3 years for her to finally warm up to him, but now he's given the cold shoulder because of this hero with a sword. Suddenly, everyone in the village hears a roar and thinks it's another demon, but it's only the hero's stomach telling that he's hungry. Yuna invites him to her house to eat her homemade lunch, something Tauka never managed to achieve. The hero gets happy, but his nose senses a delicious smell. It's the meat Tauka tried to attract the demon with. He approaches it, mentioning how he loves meat, and suddenly disappears. Tauka and Yuna get closer to see what happened, and they find the legendary hero at the bottom of the trap. The hero died. Obviously, Tauka and Yuna are shocked. This guy saved the world just to die in a simple trap. Every villager freaks out, thinking there's no way to save the world from the demons, and decide to capture Tauka and send him to the king so he can be executed for killing the hero. The villagers start throwing pebbles at him, even with him justifying that he's innocent. It was a simple accident. It's not his fault the hero trespassed his property to steal his meat. But everyone stops when he comes up with the facts. Nobody is going to believe that a simple farmer killed the legendary hero with a simple trap. The villagers realize it's indeed the dumbest legendary hero death in history and decide to find a way to hide everything from the king. But Tauka has all planned. He will finally get rid of the hero at night. The villagers bury the hero's body, and if anyone asks about the hero, they will claim that he's missing. The next day, Tauka wakes up feeling refreshed. He finally got rid of the hero, his only competitor for Yuna, only to check himself in the mirror and find out that he looks like the legendary hero. He gets shocked but dismisses it, and checks on Yuna, who immediately greets him as the hero and asks if he resurrected. Tauka finally realizes he's not imagining or dreaming, and he indeed looks like the hero. The good thing is that for the first time he feels that Yuna is totally into him and requests some fan service from her for research purposes, and Yuna is all lovey-dovey, thinking how wonderful he looks unlike the real Tauka. But there's a problem. He's stinky, and unable to hold it, she pushes him away. He tries to explain it to her, but his eye falls on the floor. She thinks he's a monster, threatening with a broom, and panic. He explains that he's Tauka, her friend. She doesn't believe it, and he proves that it's him by revealing embarrassing childhood stuff that she doesn't want to remember anymore, and of course that comes with the price of a smack on his head. She finally believes him and asks how he became the hero. In short, nobody knows, but he thinks that his soul was transferred to the hero's body, some sort of magic. Out of nowhere, they hear a mysterious laugh coming from his backyard. They run back and see Amri, a necromancer, fighting for her life as she's all falling into the same hole. They help her come back up and reveal she is the one who did it. He asks her to return him back to normal, but she won't do it. She waited all night to finally see the way he would react to see himself like the hero, and reveals that from now on Tauka will act as the legendary hero and save the world again. Because the guy literally failed 3 years ago, She explains she traveled with the hero and promised him that if anything happened to him she would choose someone who could save the world, and she chose Tauka because he killed the legendary hero. Tauka wanted to live a peaceful life in his village, but Anri had his body trapped and threatened to crush him if he didn't help. Tauka, Yuna and Anri went to the biggest city around. They were looking for supplies when Yuna came across an incredible magic staff, but it was way too expensive. Tauka didn't have that kind of money, so he managed to scam the shop owner and bought it for less. At the hotel, they counted their money, and they found Anri had the least amount. Tauka was surprised and asked why she had gotten so few, even though she'd received a generous payment from the king. Anri told them that she hadn't received anything from the king, and she'd never even seen his face. It was because she had the power of forbidden magic, something that was illegal. She had been the hero's companion and protected him from the shadows. The girls decide to make some money by accepting quests from the Adventurers Guild, while Tauka decided to roam the streets where he meets a few girls. Since there have been tons of guys impersonating the hero, the girls confirm his identity first with their bodyguard, whom the hero promised to duel someday. And today is that day. Tauka was scared, and he didn't want to die so soon, but he had the sacred sword, and with that he dodges the punch and tries to slash the guy's back only to watch the sword bend. The guy immediately punches his face, making him lose his eye. The guy accuses him of being a fake, as the hero isn't that weak. Inside the Adventure Guild, Anri found a way to earn gold by fighting and defeating demons. Yuna was super excited about this, and was about to go find Tauka when they were interrupted by Kyle, the hero's loyal companion, who starts flirting with Yuna right away. Meanwhile, Tauka was tied to a pole with people surrounding him. They were throwing things at him because he was a fake hero and smelled like a corpse. The people wanted to put up a lesson for the other fake heroes that were showing up. Tauka was about to be executed, but Kyle stops it. Kyle asked Tauka to prove his worth by taking the holy sword and imagining it to be huge. The sword grew very large, leaving the people stunned. However, the sword soon turned squishy and bent downwards, making the people start yelling again that Tauka was a fake hero. Yuna came forward with the quest, stating that he would prove himself to be the real hero by defeating 20 demons. Back at the hotel, Tauka was refusing to go on the quest. He was feeling discouraged. He felt like it was impossible for him to do something like this. Tauka blamed Anri for all the bad things that had happened to him. Anri explained that due to Tauka's low mana levels, the holy sword had turned to jelly, and he also needed mana to maintain his zombified body. Anri prepared a special mana test. Tauka had to hold a stone that glowed brighter or dimmer depending on the strength of his mana. When Tauka held the stone, it only gave off a faint glimmer. His mana was level 1. Tauka was relieved. This meant he could go back to the village. Kyle volunteered to become the hero instead of Tauka, but Anri refused. She remembered what had happened 3 years ago and wanted to avoid a similar situation. To be a hero, one must kill the hero. Desperate, Kyle picked up the sword and declared he would just have to kill him. Kyle then admits that he was joking, as he does not want to be inside a dead body. Tauka wants his old body back, so he tries to steal the magic necklace from Anri, and when Emery goes to sleep, Tauka sneaks into her room to take the necklace. Then suddenly Tauka sees Kyle trying to stab the necklace and destroy it. If Kyle does this, then Tauka's soul is dead, and also the body of Sean is lost. Tauka now knows that Kyle wants him dead. He does not want to spend time with him or interact with Kyle, as he is his enemy now. They all start fighting demons on their quest, and during the battle, Kyle and Tauka end up alone. That is when Kyle admits the truth. He has always hated Son and was jealous that Son became the hero and was chosen to be the best. Kyle tried to kill him several times while pretending to be his friend. Kyle wanted to switch bodies with Son and take over his soul. Kyle then decides to kill Tauka and finally becomes the only hero. Yuna arrives at the last moment and stops Kyle from killing Tauka and reheard what Kyle said about his evil plans. Kyle then reveals that necromancers are part demons, which means that Henry is also half demon. Kyle really wants to enter Son's body and become the new hero, and he wants Henry to do this. Henry then admits to the group that necromancers are human born on the side of the demons, and she has a crystal heart because of her demon side. Tauka still decides that Anri is actually a nice person, and she should not be judged because of her origins. Anri in that moment decides to marry Tauka if he saves the world. Tauka then sets a trap for Kyle. Kyle gets into the trap and falls into the ocean. The group tries to get some rewards for finishing the quest, but they do not get enough money. They spend all their money on new gear and weapons. Tauka then leads the group to the royal capital, and he plans to earn a lot of money there. In the meantime, we see an evil assassin is planning to attack and kill Princess Marguerite. Tauka is still in Son's body, and while his soul is alive, the body is turning into a pure skeleton. Tauka has nothing but a ruined skeleton as his body. He hates his new form and wants his old body back. The group arrives to meet the king of Farum, called Lark Vault. Tauka has to wear a mask to pretend he is Son so that the king does not notice his new form. It then revealed that the king wanted Sean to marry his daughter Princess Marguerite. Tauka has to go on a date with the princess during a special festival in 2 days. Marguerite has a condition called mess. Her body drains mana, and she will die if she does not eat a lot of food. A doctor called Leland finds out that Henry is a necromancer, and he comes up with a plan to restore Tauka. The doctor tells Tauka and his group that they have to hunt down some demons in the city. The group accepts this, and while hunting for this demon they meet a knight called Saruella. Henry and Yuna get kidnapped by a necromancer skeleton. Tauka then finds out that Princess Marguerite is really fat from all the food she has been eating. Still, her mess sickness makes her skinny after all the food she eats. She loses mana and fat at the same time. Tauka decides to find Henry and Yuna. It's then revealed that Dr. Leland is actually Skeleton Man, the evil necromancer. Leland plans to kill everyone in the city and then take their skin and create an army of undead skeletons. He will also give the skin to the dangerous demon and frame Henry for the whole mess. Tauka goes to the festival with the princess and Isac. The tutor for the princes thinks that Tauka is not really Son. The princess realizes that Tauka is not really Son. She figures this out because he acts totally differently. Marguerite then runs away, and she is found by Dr. Leland, and who wants to use her in his experiments. It's revealed that Leland has turned many people into crazy skeletons. Tauka decides to save the princess and stop Leland. The princess realizes that while Tauka is not Son, he is actually a really good person and a hero. Leland takes the princess and knocks her out. Tauka joins forces with Isaac and other people in the kingdom. To save the princess, they all go to the dungeon that Leland has created to summon demons and create skeletons, while in plans to remove all the skin from the princess and then marry her. Tauka stops this ceremony and tries to save the princess. There are many demons there, so Tauka and his friends have to defeat them. Leland then uses a magic potion to summon more skeletons. Isaac gets injured in the battle. Tauka takes the princess into the woods as he tries to run away from his enemies. He uses stealth and strategy to find Leland and finally stop him. Henry is really impressed, and Tauka explains that he has to learn all of this to survive demon attacks. When he was a child, his parents died, so he had to defend himself. The princess now falls in love with Tauka. Tauka has to find some mana to defeat Leland in battle. Isaac tells Tauka that he can consume the liquid that the princess creates. They come up with an insane plan. Tauka does not want the princess to pee in his mouth, so he then comes up with another plan. This time he really realizes that Leland is not really a necromancer. He is just a normal guy who is using a crystal to create and control the skeletons. Tauka then finds the crystal and the princess destroys it. While Leland is captured, a giant demon appears. This demon is defeated by the group. During the battle, Tauka has his skull broken and he dies. The princess is really sad and she starts to cry over his dead body. She has truly fallen in love with Tauka no matter how different he is from the original Son. Her tears regenerate Tauka, and now he is back to normal. As his body is healed, he now uses the hero's sword and kills the demon. In the meantime, we find out that a necromancer is controlling the demons. This evil necromancer is very interested in Tauka and his skills. While Leland put in prison and he loses his mind, the king gives Tauka a reward. He gets a giant carriage that is run by magic. The princess decides to join Tauka and his friends on their adventures. Tauka realizes that while he now has a normal body, in a few weeks it will turn back into its skeleton form. It takes too much magic to keep his skin and normal body. Henry and the princess get into an argument over who is going to marry Tauka. Yuna does not know how she feels towards Tauka, and she maybe wants him for herself. Still, Yuna realizes that the other girls will marry him, so she leaves the party. She is then attacked by a zombie, and after it bites her, she starts to transform into an undead. Tauka does not want to leave her. A warrior called Belarco arrives to help them. Belarco thinks that the group should take shelter in a mansion. Yuna turns into a zombie, and Henry has to control her with her magic. It's revealed that when a person turns into a zombie, they are aggressive and cannot control themselves. They can spread this when they bite someone else. Henry wants to possess Yuna and tries to find out who put this curse on her. Tauka tries to help, but he is just a pervert who wants to get closer to Yuna. The demon and some zombies attack the group. Tauka and his soul are still inside Yuna to try and calm her down. The group is now in danger, and they cannot fight off the demon and his minions alone. That is when suddenly Tauka is able to use the holy sword, and he defeats the demon and zombies. It's then revealed that since Tauka is in Yuna's body, her soul is also truly heroic.
Together they defeat several devils in front of them, and at this time, they discover that the high-ranked devil has fled. When they catch up with it, a necromancer, Diego appears next to the high-ranked devil. It turns out that the culprit who turned the residents into zombies is Diego. He, like Anri, came out of the Hell's Gate 3 years ago and was caught and tortured by humans because of his status as a necromancer. The difference between him and Anri is that Anri became the hero's companion after she was saved by Hero, while Diego was tortured by humans and finally escaped after he found an opportunity. Since then, Diego has had hatred towards humans and wanted to take revenge on the world. When he hears that there is a new hero who intends to go to the Hell's Gate, he sets traps on the way, and he has seen through that Tuca is hiding in Yuna's body. Diego summons nearby zombies to attack Tuca. Tuca originally wants to slowly deplete Diego's mana, but Anri tells him that Necromancer who came out of Hell is stronger than the average human, so their level of mana can reach 40. While that of humans can only reach 10. Although Anri is also a necromancer, she is the weakest, so they can't defeat Diego by consuming his mana. Fortunately, Tuca has already thought of a way before he came. He transforms the holy sword into a wall, trapping the zombies inside. Then he starts talking to Diego, stalling for time. Not long after, the town leader suddenly appears in the magic carriage and crashes into Diego. Not long ago, Tuca promised the town leader that if he was willing to help attack the enemy, Tuca would show him the look of Marguerite wearing black stockings without clothes on. When Marguerite learns about this, she is very angry. Tuca still underestimates Diego's strength. He is not defeated at all and stands up again. Just when they are about to fight, a girl who claims herself to be a hero appears. Tuca recognizes her as Yuna's sister Millie, who is accompanied by 3 teammates. The warrior is Yuna's father Fieri, and the other 2 are magicians. Under their combined forces, Diego is suppressed, and seeing that he cannot kill the hero today, Diego intends to leave first. However, before leaving, he tells Tuca that the people here are cursed by the devil conversion spell, and if their level of mana is too low, they will be zombies forever after a day. Yuna has a low level in her mana, so she will become a zombie after a day. To save Yuna, Tuca decides to find Diego's stronghold and defeat him. He guesses that Diego is hiding in a destroyed city nearby, which is also Tuca and Yuna's hometown. So Tuca and his companions head to find Diego with Millie, and in the car they introduce themselves. Millie is 16 years old and she is Fieri's daughter, just like Yuna. The difference between them is that Fieri is very opposed to Yuna going out on an adventure, and he warns Yuna that she must return to the countryside after this incident. Fieri has very special experiences, and he was one of the 4 knights of the kingdom before. Because he likes touching women's bodies, he was later condemned by the female knight of the kingdom and was finally stripped of the title of the 4 knights. The 2 magicians were once the teammates of the hero, but it seems that they don't like Anri, who once teamed up with them. Fieri is curious about why the hero and Yuna are together, and Tuca quickly avoids the question with an excuse. He hides the fact that he is now in Yuna's body, but is almost recognized by Millie because he speaks in a tone that resembles Toka's. Millie has been very fond of Tuca since she was a child and always wants to marry him. Different from Millie, Fieri as their father seems to hate Tuca very much, thinking that Tuca is a pervert who loves thighs. However, Fieri, who loves women with ample bodies, is no better than him. Tuca wants to ask Millie why she claims herself to be a hero, but just then they are ambushed. It turns out the reason why Diego left the words before leaving is that he wants to lure Tuca to come to him. Diego finds a female thief who is very good at making traps to ambush Tuca and his companions, causing Toka's magic carriage to be broken after it falls into the trap. After they get out of the carriage, they find dense fog everywhere. Millie doesn't take it seriously, but then she is ambushed by devils while exploring the way, and most of her clothes are torn. Tuca and his companions hasten to form a circle to prevent another attack. The female thief, who is not affected by the dense fog because she is standing high, sees all this clearly and sends many devils to attack them. Soon Toka's team is attacked and many of them are defeated, leaving Tuca alone. Just as the female thief is about to kill Tuca, he smiles. The next moment, all of his teammates who fell to the ground just now stand up, and the devils who just besieged them all fall to the ground. It turns out that Tuca, using the X-ray magic crystal, has long known the location of these devils. So when these devils attacked, Toka's teammates defeated the devil first and then pretended to fall. After that, Anri controlled the devils with necromancy. Tuca threatens the female thief to take off all the clothes and kneel to him in knee-high socks if she wants to survive. He then approaches the female thief, and when he sees the female thief's face, he instantly kneels down in fear. It turns out that this female thief is actually Toka's master. 3.5 years ago, the Hell's Gate was opened and many devils appeared in the world. After Toka's parents died, he decided to return to his hometown. However, he accidentally fell into the female thief's trap, which she prepared to deal with the devils. The female thief looks very cold, but she is actually very kind. Seeing that the little boy Tuka was unsupported, she took him as an apprentice. Now Tuka is still in Yuna's body and he tells his master about his experiences recently. Only then does Millie realize that the sister in front of her is Tuka, who she has been missing. Tuka wonders why the female thief teams up with the person who has joined forces with the devil. The female thief tells Tuka that she went to the Hell's Gate 3 months ago and since then she has decided to help them get their revenge. When Tuka goes to see the Hell's Gate he will know why. The female thief admits that she lost to Tuka this time and when she is about to leave Tuka stops her. According to the rules that Toka's master once taught him, the loser can only die or agree to the demands made by the winner. Just now Tuka asked the female thief to put on the knee-high socks nakedly. In the end the female thief has to do so, which shocks Toka's teammates. After that the female thief temporarily joins his team at Toka's request. Now they are still far from Diego's territory. Under the guidance of the female thief they intend to go to a nearby repairman to repair the magic carriage. The repairman here is an old man who is coincidentally the grandfather of the hero. He has very bad eyesight and will even pour on other people's heads while pouring tea. After feeling the aura of the hero he is willing to help repair the magic carriage. During this time Tuka finally has time to ask Millie why she calls herself a hero. Millie tells Tuka that the sword she is holding is called the man-made sacred sword. This is the reward that she received after winning the sword fighting tournament in the Western Kingdom. It is made by the world's top craftsmen and there are only 4 in the world. Although the man-made sacred sword cannot seal the Hell's Gate, it can cause damage to the Dark Lord and his 4 infernal generals. So Millie thinks she's a hero. At this time the female thief tells everyone that according to what she learns there are thousands of devils in the city and 4 powerful necromancers who control the bodies of the 4 infernal generals in Diego's stronghold. With the power of Tuka and his teammates it is highly unlikely for them to defeat them. Unexpectedly Tuka, who was timid in the past, is very determined to go this time, saying that he has someone he really wants to save this time. Soon after Millie finds Tuka and she already guesses that the person Tuka is trying to save is Yuna. After some asking she finally knows that Yuna was infected and will turn into a zombie if Diego is not defeated. Just then Millie suddenly attacks Tuka, who has too little mana to use the sacred sword and is quickly defeated. Millie taunts Tuka saying, "How can you save Yuna if you are so weak?" Tuka says that even so he will still go to Yuna's rescue even if he tries every despicable means. At this time Millie smiles and it turns out that it was all Millie's test for him just now. Yuna once said that 3 years ago it was the hero who saved her and Millie asked the hero about this after being rescued and the hero told her that if someone hadn't set many traps nearby to trap the devils he wouldn't have had a chance to save them. Now it seems clear that the person who set the trap is Tuka. Millie believes that Tuka will be able to save Yuna again. Tuka says that he could only stall for time before, but now it is different since he has so many companions and he will definitely save Yuna this time. After that Tuka says that he wants to go to the loo, so he sneaks to a corner without anyone around. Before saving Yuna he wants to enjoy touching her thighs. Just when he is immersed in the joy someone approaches him.
Tuka awoke in the past where his father was abusing his mother and even beating him up. Can't understand the situation because the people around him are acting like an NPC, and if his memories serve him right, this was the time he met Yuna, so we went up the location and met Kid Yuna there. But then he heard the voice of real Yuna and followed it, and there he met her illusion, so Tuka was possessing her body. So when he got into this memory world, Yuna also got caught in it as well, but one thing was certain, that they could escape this memory world, so Tuka got the idea to move to the town's end. There they saw a white light covering the area there. They stepped inside of it, and time leaps further in an instant, so they crossed another part of the light and gets inside Toka's memory when he lost his mother there. In her final moments, his mother gave him a letter that Yuna had written for him. In another moment they were between the war, and Yuna saw that Tuka had seen the Hellgate. But then on the next part, it was rather peaceful. Yuna finally realized what kind of hell he has gone through in his past, yet he didn't say a single thing to her. Yuna reveals that she saw everything, how he protected her even though she was infected, and there she also heard his and Millie's conversation. She regretted that she always taunted him that Tuka never arrived to help her when devils attacked, but rather it was because of him that she is still alive. Then Devil, who pushed them into this memory world, showed up, because he was bored to death watching this crappy romance drama and wanted to finish them off. Tuka and Yuna run and arrived in the memory when he had his power maxed out. But the devil can control anyone's thoughts outside of this world, so no matter how many times Tuka tries, he won't be able to hurt him because he can control Toka's will. But Yuna was the secret weapon because she was in her soul, so the devil can't interfere or see Yuna. She took control of Toka's move to defeat him. This memory world broke, and surprisingly, Yuna also appeared in the real world in her soul form, and others have also defeated the devil's other subordinates. The 10th episode shows Tuka and the others going back on their journey to Alvania. Meanwhile, Saruella invites Kyle to help attack the demons in Alvania. Story continues by showing Tuka returning to Sean's body. Then Tuka tells his friends that he can see Yuna. Enri says the reason for Yuna's presence in Toka's memories world and why Tuka can see Yuna at this time is because Tuka has been in Yuna's body for too long, making their souls connect. Tuka takes the initiative to put Yuna's body in the carriage trunk for fear of being found out by Yuna's father, but it turns out that Yuna's father knows about it. The scene changes by showing the mayor. Before he became mayor, he built facilities in the village because he only wanted to increase his wealth. But it turned out that all the residents liked him and made him mayor. The mayor wakes and realizes he and Belarco have arrived in the capital. Meanwhile, Friedrich is scolding Diego because his people are useless. Suddenly, royal magic knights come to attack them but fail. From his kingdom, the king is watching them. One of the knight attacks manages to hit Diego, but it turns out that Diego can regenerate. She attacks again, and Diego regenerates again until he starts to attack the knight. Another knight tries to attack Friedrich, but he easily defeats her. Diego releases one of his hell pillars and kills all the magic knight troops. Not long after, the mayor and Belarco come to inform them that the residents of their village had been infected with a monster virus. The mayor also informs that demons had ruled Alvania. The mayor prostrates, begging the king to send troops as soon as possible to attack Alvania because he wants his villagers to be safe, and Belarco also prostrates there. Silruella requests permission to deploy a troop of knights and use a golden ship to help attack Alvania, and she would also enlists Kyle's help. Back to Tuka, who tells Yuna's father about Yuna, but Yuna's father is not angry and instead invites Tuka to join to become a lover. It is seen that Sean's grandfather made them a magic radio to be able to contact each other. It turns out that Sion's grandfather could also see Yuna. Then, because he feels sorry for Yuna naked, he gives her a dress, but it looks very sexy. The reason Sion's grandfather could see her is in exchange for his deteriorating eyesight, making him see magic energy in a person's soul. After that, they go back on the journey to Alvania. Tuka deliberately leaves without saying goodbye to Ethel, which makes Ethel chase after him. It turns out it's just Tuka trick to get Ethel to work with them. Ethel is annoyed but finally agrees. Meanwhile, on the ship, Saruella looks to forbid Isaac from joining, but Isaac insists on helping. Then it is seen Kyle with Belarco, but Kyle is still planning to kill Tuka and take over Son's body. Then in the golden carriage, Millie tells Tuka why she becomes a hero, because she wants to revive Alvania, and hearing that makes Tuka enthusiastic. They almost arrive at Alvania. Then with his magic sword, Tuka protects their carriage so that they manage to enter the enemy's main base. Demons surround them, and while Tuka is talking to a skeleton demon, suddenly Ethel stabs Tuka head until he falls. The skeleton demon is glad that Ethel is still on their side. The skeleton demon also thinks that Tuka is really dead. Ethel also asks for permission to hand Tuka body to Friedrich. Meanwhile, Tuka, who was in his original body, is infiltrating through the waterways. It turns out that everything is just a trap from Toka's plan. Before Ethel stabbed Son in the head, Anri had already transferred Toka's soul into his real body. Tuka is about to leave, but suddenly Enri appears to ask to come along. Tuka initially refuses, but seeing Enri's sincerity and wanting to help him, he can't bear it and allows her. They almost arrive at the high-level demon's place, but suddenly Tuka falls due to changing bodies too much. Even his nose is bleeding. There comes two low-level demons who instantly make Tuka and Enri redisguise themselves as giant radishes. Tuka attacks the demons then and reuses her magic to take over the two demons' bodies. Suddenly they see three girls trying to fight a big demon. Enri tries to help them by provoking the demons to fight the heroes outside, but the demons won't listen to her. Tuka also tries to help them by ordering the demons not to attack, but to take advantage of the girls' beautiful bodies, which makes the demons happy with Tuka's idea. Two demons come asking Tuka to save a high-level demon who turns out to be their demon queen from Diego. The two demons even point out the whereabouts of their queen. After meeting the demon queen, Tuka says he will help fight Diego and realize the demon queen's idea of turning some humans into demons and some into livestock, and after that, humans and demons could co-exist. The demon queen trusts Tuka and even agrees when Tuka invites them to hold each other's foreheads as a tradition of friendship between humans. Tuka manages to hold the demon queen's forehead and knocks her unconscious. Enri shows herself, then Tuka admits he isn't a demon and kills the two demons there. When he wants to kill the demon queen with his sword, suddenly magic stops his sword and his demon body falls. But Enri manages to save Toka's soul back to his original body. Then Friedrich comes taking Tuka's sword and makes Enri go straight to him. Friedrich greets Enri, which makes her happy that his brother is still alive. Anime continues by showing that the demons have realized that Tuka has managed to infiltrate their base, and Millie has to hold them back outside. Suddenly, the devil breaks Millie's clothes, which makes other devils interested. Marguerite, who realizes the demons are interested, immediately removes her clothes too. It is seen that Tuka realizes that Friedrich is Enri's older brother, and Friedrich asks why Enri is on Tuka's side. Enri also replies that she has a dream to reconcile the world from the threat of danger. Tuka tries to persuade Friedrich not to attack humans, but Friedrich aims to rule the world for the sake of necromancers by using all means, including cooperating with demons. Tuka's persuasions still don't work for Friedrich, and Friedrich invites Enri to join him, but Henry still has a promise to Sion to save everyone, even though against her own race. And Sion Tuka fighting alone to protect the world makes Enri want to always be with him. Suddenly Diego comes there and mocks Tuka. Then seeing the demon queen faint, Diego tells the pillar demon to eat it so it can absorb the demon queen's power. Diego also wants to invite Tuka to fight. Meanwhile outside, Millie and Marguerite are baiting the demons to take them to the mountains because there used to be lots of traps set by Tuka. Millie's father is also tempted to see their breasts but is stopped by his friend. There Millie's friends try to protect Millie. Then Tuka, who is starting to be cornered, has to find a way to escape from there. Tuka has a way of inviting Diego to fight, but the magic sword Friedrich brought must be returned to Tuka. Diego, who wants to experience a full-powered duel, agrees to Tuka's request and orders Friedrich to return his magic sword. Tuka also invites him to fight at the top of the tower, and Tuka begins a plan with Ethel to defeat Diego. It is then Diego using the body of a demon pillar named Vertex, and they start to fight at the top of the tower. Diego can only be killed by a magic sword, but his movements are easy to read. But it turns out to be Tuka trick, and he manages to knock Diego downstairs. Ethel, who is ready, immediately attacks Diego with her lightning magic. Friedrich tries to fight Tuka, but Sion's body manages to kick him, and Tuka returns to Sion's body. Tuka also drank Soma's drops to restore his magic energy. He immediately attacks Diego from below, but it turns out that Tuka's sword is broken, and Diego manages to avoid his attack. Vertex's power can absorb all attacks, and Ethel also doesn't manage to hit Diego. It turns out that Diego has taken advantage of Tuka's plan to make him despair. Seeing Tuka return to Sion's body reminds Diego of the war 3 years ago. Tuka tries to bring down the rubble of the building, but it doesn't hurt Diego. Tuka meets Enri again, and he asks how Sion defeated the Pillar Demon in the previous battle. Enri doesn't know it, and only Dorothy knows, but Dorothy is asleep. Instead, Yuna remembers when she was little, she saw Sion fight with a Pillar Demon, and he changed his weapon into many branches, so it was hard to guess, and managed to beat him. Marguerite also gets ready to wait for orders from Tuka. Diego has managed to find him, and is hit by a shot from Marguerite. Tuka realizes that the absorbing power is not used around his body, and Tuka attacks through the bottom, but Diego can't predict his attack. It turns out that it was Yuna's action that helped Tuka to make Diego not being able to read Tuka's movements. Diego also cuts Tuka hand, and they should compete to regenerate abilities until their magic runs out. Ethel is also fighting with Friedrich, which makes him angry because Ethel betrayed him, and Friedrich doesn't want to lose his sister again. Tuka sees Diego's shield start to shrink, and Diego is even happier to experience this great battle, remembering Diego is always looking for challenges to take revenge on humans. Tuka wants to attack, but suddenly his body falls, and Enri realizes that the power of drop has run out. Then other demons appear wanting to attack Tuka. Tuka tries to attack Diego, but his strength has weakened, so he is defeated. Tuka has the last drop of Soma, but too much use of Soma drops will have side effects. Tuka doesn't care about the side effects because as long as he manages to protect his friends, that is enough for him. After drinking the last drop of Soma, he suddenly falls. Diego is very disappointed about Tuka for not being able to get a great fight. From a distance, Belarco sees Tuka cornered, wanting to help him. Enri, who sees Tuka unable to move, can't believe that she will lose him. Then Kyle appears to stop Diego, and Kyle doesn't want Tuka to die before Kyle can kill him by himself. Enri thinks Kyle will kill Tuka, but he reassures that he doesn't want to kill Tuka, which is obviously a lie. Diego absorbs all demons to gain more power. Yuna cries as she understands that they won't have much time, and Tuka isn't waking up. Tuka wakes up in strange place, thinks that he died. Suddenly Sion appears and tells that he is in a world of Holy Sword. Sion thanks him for being a hero even not wanting to. He explains that he saw everything what happened. Sion explains that every hero comes to this world after their death where they can join the dream world that they want to live. Sion also explains that Tuca became the next hero because the sword accepted Tuca as a hero by mistake. That's why Tuca can use the sword in different bodies. Sion shows him the exit and tells that different challenges awaits him there, but Tuca instantly decides to go back no matter what. Tuca finally comes back. He says Enri to free her body, and Demon's hand cut in half. It turns out that now Sion is using Toka's body. All this thanks to Tuca bringing Sion's mind into Toka's body. Diego is happy to fight with the real hero but gets instantly cut. He breaks the magical stone, and Tuca attacks him. Thanks to Kyle, Tuca finally kills the Pillar Demon using the sword, and everyone gets back to normal. Diego gets back to his body but can't move due to low mana. Then unknown woman and two demons appears who wants to get their revenge for killing their queen. Yuna gets back and hugs Tuca. On the party, the girls swarms Tuca when suddenly she took him away in the room. Finally, Yuna says that she's thankful for saving her and allows Tuca to put stockings on her. But when Tuca throws up the sword sighing he don't want Sion to see her, Yuna runs away. The next day, Sion tells them where they should go now. He tells he need to raise his magical level and tells Kyle and Dorothy to lead them to the sage. And that's where the season ends. Tell me your thought about this anime in the comments. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I will bring more exciting anime in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.